Greetings. This is a response to your video Sunday morning from BASYKES, where she discusses why she's no longer a Catholic. And there are some pretty rough comments underneath. I thought it was kind of rough because I believe that they don't fully understand um, the situation. I believe that you become disillusioned for whatever reason with the church and what you believe in. And I would say go back and look at that. Simply because after all the resentment wears off, you realize that um, the scope of the whole thing was not started or was not intended uh, primarily for the bozos that now run the institutions. And religion in itself can be very, very powerful, especially for kids growing up, and the use of rituals and the idea of bringing using metaphoric value to solve problems in your life. I would suggest while you're sitting at home, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, to go back and look at all those biblical texts that they use and forget about all the people and all the theology and just kind of start over. Who's going to care? You're not going to get in trouble for it, and you might end up appreciating what's out there a lot more than what they tried to feed you. And I know that there's a lot of issues. I go to church off and on, and I left a pretty strict fundamentalist church, and pretty much, I used to feel guilty about it, then the huge resentment, and now looking back on it, I see why my parents and people did the things they did and why they thought the things they thought. And mostly because it was in retaliation to social issues that were happening in that day. So whereas today it might be the gay issue or birth control, centuries ago it was something else. And I believe that pedophilia always existed. It just wasn't reported. And I don't know if you ever seen the video called or the book on the Madeline sisters, which was a pretty disturbing account of how they put these girls in the laundries in Catholic institutions and kept them there for life almost. And but I don't see that that's a reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater because of a lot of spoilers. And yes, there are a lot of spoilers. And just because, you might have 90% of the priests you may think are pedophiles, still 10% that aren't. And maybe grouping everybody together in one big lump might not be such a good idea. I'm not trying to play on your guilt because I've been there before where people tried to do that and tried to persuade me to do stuff. But recently I've been just going back, saying forget about all this stuff, not signing up with anybody, and I find that I have common beliefs with a lot of good people from a lot of different religions also, and this might be your opportunity to explore what's out there, and being that you've experienced life and kids, and you might have a lot of wisdom to share with people. And guess what all I'm saying is don't let all the bad apples in the bag ruin the one good apple on the bottom, even though it might seem that way. It's not only the Catholic Church that's having problems, it's the evangelicals. So some of your comments down below, people who commented down below, have almost the same issues that you're going through, because a lot of evangelicals preach against. Well, I'm assuming they're evangelicals. There, I'm like categorizing people, but at any rate, even the evangelicals preach against birth control, and basically a lot of people just blow it off. And you could still go to mass, and you could still take communion, and yeah, you might be living a fake, blah blah blah, but who isn't? And everybody's in the soup, and it might be good to do together as a family, like you and your husband. It might mean something to you, a special time, and who knows, you may eventually derive meaning from doing that little ritual, or just the ritual of going to church together. Might be beneficial for you, even if some things may anger you at times. But I've learned that you just have to let it roll off like water on a duck's back, and sort out the few good things in with the whole bag full of bad. And it might seem overwhelming, but there's some value to it. And the church has been around for 2,000 years or more, and I think that there's more to it than the bozos that we put in place to govern stuff. And they're not all bozos. Some of them are very educated people. So I'm just throwing this out there. It's just a thought. Maybe you ought to reconsider a little bit, and hope things go well for you. Take care.